If you like what I do, consider joining my channel or donating to my coffee. Links in the description. You think all these spike traps will deter me? I can infiltrate anywhere.
Colonel, I'm trying to sneak around, but I'm dummy thick, and the clap of my ass cheeks keeps alerting the spikes.
Sliding Hero is something special. I've never played anything quite like it. Sure, I've played games with similar elements, but none of them come close to the mechanical diversity and creativity on display here. I'll break it all down once the review gets rolling, but I want to prep you now. This game is exceptionally unique, even by experimental Metroidvania standards. Normally, when I describe a game like this, it's my polite way of saying, yeah, this wasn't for me. And in this case, that's partially true. Sliding Hero was not made for someone like me. I'm not a puzzle guy, and mixing intricate puzzles into my Metroidvanias is usually the best way to get me to clock out. But I finished it, and shockingly, I ended up liking it a lot. Sliding Hero is an experimental Metroidvania in the truest sense. Its control scheme is wildly non-traditional, there's almost no platforming. Every so often you'll hop a gap or dodge some spikes, but for the most part, simply navigating the world is the challenge, as your Serenissima soldier slides uncontrollably across the ground, only stopping when he slams into something. Watching gameplay, Sliding Hero is not what you'd ever picture when someone says Metroidvania. And yet, here we are, staring point blank at one of the most unorthodox entries the genre has seen since Hero Square or Laika aged through blood. But when you clicked this video, you didn't order a Yappuccino. So let's talk about what this game actually is. You play as Luca Sycamoro, a military captain stranded in a Venetian villa on a mysterious island. With only escape on his mind, Luca must battle undead hordes and work with strange characters if he wants any hope of leaving this cursed place. I love a little mystery in my setup, but is this spooky Italian thriller worth unraveling, or should we let Luca slide his way out of this one alone?
Combat.
So before we dive into the intricacies of combat, we gotta talk about the objective of Sliding Hero's puzzles. Nearly every room in this interconnected world is a puzzle, and to clear these puzzles, you typically have to do at least one of three things. Reach the exit, kill every zombie in the room to unlock a door, or press a lever to lower a gate. Obviously, this is easier said than done, given that Luca moves like he's perpetually slipping on a banana peel. Once he starts moving, he doesn't stop until he hits something. Now, let's talk about combat. Every zombie has three stats: attack, defense, and HP. Luca also has these three stats, and when Luca collides with the zombie, the man with the bigger stats wins. Though running into a zombie doesn't guarantee there will be a loser. Let's say a zombie has 2 defense and 3 HP. If Luca has 3 attack, he will hit the zombie for 3 damage minus its 2 defense, resulting in the zombie taking 1 point of damage, surviving with 2 HP. But the zombie simultaneously does damage to Luca. Luca's going down to 1 HP. And if Luca were to attack again, he'd be toast. It's not complicated, it's simple math. As long as you're paying attention, you'll be fine. However, things get much more complicated once you start adding in weapons and shields and enemy behaviors. That's when the real puzzling begins. See this up here? This is where all the math happens. This side is where your weapons are held, and this side is where your shields are held. You can hold multiple weapons and shields, and you can cycle through them, indicated by these numbers and these dots, respectively. So, when you plan your attack, you'll have to keep in mind each weapon and shield's durability and strengths. And of course, once a weapon or shield's uses or durability are depleted, you can no longer use that item. And you do not start with these items upon entering a room, you have to pick them up first which can be a puzzle in and of itself. All of that is the foundation of Sliding Heroes combat. I could dive much deeper into things, but it would take forever and would partially ruin the fun of discovery, so I'll be brief. There are multiple weapons in the game, each with their own positioning quirk, if you will. The sword is pretty standard. You run into an enemy, do damage, and position yourself right next to the enemy. But you can also unlock a spear that hits enemies 2 spaces away, which you can use to attack without fear of retaliation, and set yourself up on the board to reach places you normally couldn't had you not used the spear. Soon, you'll unlock hammers that push enemies around on the board and rapiers that place you on the other side of enemies after you attack. Each weapon you unlock offers a different mechanic to position Luca on the board in specific ways, and players are expected to use these weapons strategically to overcome these puzzles. Normally, I'd say that's asking a lot, but it's not so bad thanks to the Time Sphere, an item you can use with the press of a button to rewind time back to the beginning of the puzzle. I really appreciated this because it helped turn each puzzle into a trial and error affair, which I'm much more comfortable with. So, if you're not a deep thinker who analyzes every angle and would rather just jump in and learn from your mistakes, you can certainly play that way. That's what I did. And of course, there are many enemy types that also affect positioning and how you approach each puzzle. From skellies that block your path, to bloated corpses that explode on contact, to zombies with guns who shoot you as you slide toward them. And then there are the bosses. The game only has a few, but each encounter's pretty memorable. They're puzzly, so I don't want to spoil them. I just want you to know that this guy, in particular, can suck it. And that's it for combat. Sliding Heroes combat ultimately shines as a clever extension of its puzzle design. A system built on simple math that quickly spirals into strategic depth. Weapons, shields, durability, and enemy behaviors all intertwine to turn every encounter into a positioning puzzle where the right tool or angle can completely change the outcome. Your growing arsenal adds layers of tactical movement, the Time Sphere keeps experimentation stress-free, and the enemy variety ensures you're always adjusting your approach. Even the bosses lean into this philosophy, delivering memorable encounters without breaking the game's logic. It's thoughtful and surprisingly flexible, a combat system that rewards planning, improvisation, and the occasional, "oh crap, rewind time" moment.
Abilities, platforming.
As stated in the intro, and as evidenced in the gameplay up to this point, there is almost no platforming in Sliding Hero. Hop a gap here, slide across spikes there. Other than that, you aren't doing a lot of jumping. And I typically talk about this game's puzzles in this section, but considering the entire game is a puzzle, it seems kinda pointless. But, just to cover my bases, yes, this game has lots of puzzles to solve. I'm happy to say that these puzzles extend beyond the rooms you must overcome to progress. There are many hidden paths and secrets to find along the way for the more observant among us. Sliding Hero does have unique biomes aesthetically, but there's not a lot of gimmicks outside of weapons and enemy behaviors. Some biomes have traps, others have teleporters, but mostly puzzles stay pretty consistent, demanding players to use weapons and enemies to position themselves properly. The only thing I can say is puzzly outside of the moment-to-moment puzzling are the masks you find in chests. Masks are like keys, and each colored mask unlocks specific doors. Pretty straightforward, but effective. As far as abilities go, these are your weapons, and you unlock them as you progress. And you can even backtrack to rooms you couldn't solve earlier once you start unlocking these weapons. Very Metroidvania, if I say so myself. And that's it for this section. Sliding Hero's abilities serve its core puzzle identity. Simple on the surface, but cleverly layered once new weapons enter the mix. There's almost no traditional jumping, yet the game still rewards curiosity through hidden paths, biome-specific quirks, and the satisfaction of returning to earlier rooms with newly unlocked tools. It's a stripped-down, puzzle-first take on Metroidvania progression. It's consistently thoughtful in how it uses its weapons, enemies, and level layouts to keep you sliding toward that next aha moment.
Progression.
This is going to be another brief section. There is zero character progression in Sliding Hero. No XP, no leveling, no 3 of a thing to increase something. No blacksmith to make your weapons stronger. You can find outfits if you're really into fashion, but these fits do nothing for your stats. The only thing that improves as you play is your problem-solving capabilities.
Exploration.
Exploring Sliding Hero's world is much more involved than I had initially expected. This villa is quite large with a lot of nooks and crannies to get lost in. I will say exploration isn't particularly rewarding due to the lack of character progression, but the game compensates by having an interesting and intriguing world to get lost in. And there are things to find, like outfits and lore items to help you better understand this world you're sliding through. But sometimes backtracking isn't all that fun, especially when you get stuck on where to go or stumped on a particular puzzle. Once you solve a puzzle, you never have to do it again, but sometimes just basic navigation can be tedious. This is just me trying to leave an area. This doesn't happen a lot, but it happens. Thankfully, Luca moves pretty quick, and Portia's always here to help. Portia is a giant lady in a well who swallows you and takes you all over the island. She is the fast travel, and I will not elaborate. The game's map is functional. Rooms are represented as blocks, and it shows you entrances, exits, and points of interests like chests you haven't opened and lore items you haven't obtained. It's not the best, but like I said, it's functional. And that's it for exploration. Sliding Hero's exploration ends up being a simple but engaging loop, carried more by the villa's winding layout and oddball charm than by traditional rewards or progression. The world's big enough to get lost in, with outfits, lore bits, and hidden corners giving you just enough incentive to poke around. Backtracking can drag, especially when navigation gets awkward, but Luca's speed and Portia's fast travel shortcuts keep things from bogging down too much. The map won't win any rewards, yet it does its job, and the overall experience lands as a light, curiosity-driven adventure that complements the game's puzzle-first design rather than competing with it.
Atmosphere. Narrative.
Sliding Hero's greatest aspect, besides its insanely clever puzzles, is its atmosphere. This game looks beautiful. From its excellent pixel art to its incredible portraits, it's a pleasure just to look at this game. And the weird locales and fun Italian carnival theme make this a very memorable world. There's not a lot of music, mostly ambiance, but this restraint worked in the game's favor, helping to craft its surreal and sometimes creepy environments. The narrative is fine. It does its job well at being a vehicle to push the action along. It's a bit predictable, and there's only one ending, but trying to unravel the villa and situation's details is where the fun lies. And again, just experiencing this game's world is pretty neat in and of itself. And that'll do it for this section. Sliding Hero's atmosphere ends up being one of its most striking strengths, a gorgeous blend of lush pixel art, expressive and bombastic portraits, and surreal Venetian carnival vibes that make every biome feel uncanny. The sparse, ambient-heavy audio reinforces that dreamlike tone, giving the villa an eerie stillness that sticks with you long after you stop sliding. The narrative itself is serviceable rather than surprising, but the real joy comes with soaking in the world, piecing together its oddities, and letting the game's strange little mysteries pull you deeper into its halls.
Final thoughts and score.
Sliding Hero is one of those rare experimental Metroidvanias that fully commits to its strange ideas and makes them sing. Its puzzle-driven combat, weapon-based positioning, and sliding navigation create a style that feels unlike anything else in the genre, and its gorgeous atmosphere gives the whole experience a surreal charm that sticks with you. The lack of traditional progression and the occasional navigation slog hold it back, but if you're open to a Metroidvania that prioritizes brain-bending puzzles over platforming or combat spectacle, Sliding Hero delivers something genuinely memorable. It's weird, it's clever, and it's absolutely worth a look for players craving something different. I award Sliding Hero an 8 out of 10. Sliding Hero is available on PC. I played Sliding Hero exclusively on the Steam Deck with 0 issues, and therefore give it a Steam Deck rating of verified.
Chair placement.
Sliding Hero is one of the strangest, boldest experiments the Metroidvania genre has seen in years. A game that abandons traditional movement, platforming, and progression in favor of pure, brain-twisting puzzle design. Its atmosphere is great, its mechanics are clever, and its identity is unmistakably its own. But its narrow focus, lack of character progression, and occasionally tedious navigation may be too much for some. And as much as I personally loved this game and have a deep respect for its insanely clever puzzles, it's just not going to be for every MV enthusiast. But gosh darn it, the MV spirit is here. So don't take it that I'm calling that a weakness. This game is anything but weak. Sliding Hero slides itself into the C tier. The C tier is being pretty generous for such an experimental Metroidvania, but I genuinely had a great time with it, and I think more open-minded Metroidvaniers who love puzzle games are gonna like it too. The MV spirit is there, I just think Sliding Hero may not appeal to the average MV enjoyer, which is a shame considering how well done and thoughtful this game truly is. If you're down for something different, or if you really want to test your mettle with some tough and clever puzzles, give the game a shot. It'd make a wonderful addition in Slide your library.